What's good, XRP Army? You already know what time it is. Something massive is happening right now with XRP, and this time, it's real that we're not just getting a small pop in price. We're not just hearing another round of speculation this week. We are witnessing the perfect storm of technical breakout, legal clarity, institutional support, and regulatory tailwinds all hitting XRP at the same time. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through everything you need to know, from the 6-year chart breakout that everyone is talking about, to the SEC's latest moves, the chances of a spot ETF, and how Ripple's new stablecoin and bank charter could completely change the game. And yes, I'll give you my real strategy, where I'm buying, where I'm taking profits, and what levels I'm watching like a hawk. So let's kick this off with the breakout, the technical move that's been 6 years in the making. Let me say that again for the folks in the back. XRP has just broken out of a symmetrical triangle that's been forming since 2018. That is a multi-cycle pattern. Very few assets in crypto have this kind of historical setup. This pattern represents compression. It's where bulls and bears fight for years. Each bounce gets smaller, each rejection tighter, until it eventually explodes. And we're seeing that explosion right now. XRP finally closed a full weekly candle above that upper trend line, right around the $3.50 level, with a huge volume surge. Over 158 million XRP traded in one day. That's volume you don't get unless whales and institutions are stepping in. Now here's where it gets wild. A lot of people were waiting for confirmation. Well, we got it. Not only did we break out, but XRP has held above that key breakout zone and is now eyeing resistance near $3.95, $4.00. So where are we heading next? Let's talk targets. Peter Brandt, a veteran trader who's been charting markets since before most of us were born, has called for a 60% rally off the breakout, targeting $4.47. But that's just the conservative call. If you use the Fibonacci extension from the last swing high to the swing low, the 1.618 level sits at $6.19. That's the golden zone for post-breakout expansions. Even Standard Chartered Bank, yes, a major TradFi player, has put out a report suggesting XRP could hit $5.50, thanks to growing institutional adoption and demand for real-time liquidity. Now you're probably wondering, what's fueling all this sudden bullish momentum? Let's start with the biggest shift, the SEC lawsuit. Ripple has officially paid the $125 million penalty the SEC imposed. That part is done. They didn't pay it in XRP. They paid it in cold hard cash, which is important because it means Ripple is not dumping tokens on the market. And even bigger news, Ripple has withdrawn its cross appeal. That means they are not fighting the court's partial ruling anymore. They're ready to move on. And what about the SEC? Well, while they haven't officially dropped their appeal yet, insiders are reporting that the SEC is expected to withdraw it at their July 24th closed-door meeting. This would mark the official end of the case. That's huge, because once the appeal is dropped, XRP is no longer tied up in legal uncertainty that it's legally cleared to be sold in the US as a non-security. Which brings us to the next domino, spot ETFs. That you've probably heard that ProShares launched a leveraged XRP futures ETF, ticker UXRP. Already trading, that's step 1. Step 2, a spot ETF. And Bloomberg analysts now give XRP an 85% chance of getting a spot ETF approved before the end of 2025. That's extremely bullish. Now here's where things get even more interesting, because Ripple isn't just sitting back waiting for regulators. They're making moves. They've filed for a federal trust charter, which would essentially allow Ripple to operate as a crypto bank in the US that unlocks custody, stablecoin issuance, and regulated crypto services for institutions. And they're launching RLUSD, a Ripple-issued stablecoin, 100% backed by cash and equivalents, built directly on the XRP ledger. What does this mean? Ripple is building an entire financial layer on top of XRP. Not just payments, not just token transfers, but full-scale liquidity, stablecoin routing, custody, and compliance. All of it. Now let's talk institutional flows. With the Genius Act regulating high-yield stablecoins, institutions are looking for compliant assets that can handle liquidity and real-time settlement. That XRP fits perfectly. That it's fast, cheap, compliant, and now legally cleared. And we're seeing capital rotate out of speculative DeFi and into regulated utility assets like XRP and ETH.SO. With all that said, what happens next? Let's talk price levels to watch. Short-term, $3.40 is the key support. That's the breakout retest zone. If XRP holds that, we're good. If we flip $3.95 to $4 into support, then $4.50 comes into view almost immediately. After that, the $5.50 and $6.19 targets open up. But remember, nothing moves in a straight line. We'll likely see pullbacks, shakeouts, and resistance zones hit before the real run up. My personal strategy? I'm long. I've been long. But I'm also watching volume, order book strength, and regulatory confirmations like a hawk. If the SEC officially drops the appeal on July 24th, I'll likely add to my position and start looking toward $4.50 and beyond. And if we do get a pullback into the low $3s, that's where I'll be buying heavier. Now I want to hear from you. Are you buying this breakout? Do you believe the SEC will finally step out of the way this week? And how high do you think XRP can realistically go in this cycle? XRP continues to gain momentum as market sentiment leans increasingly bullish. Well-known analyst eGrag has set an average target of $20 for XRP during this current bull cycle, pointing to historical patterns and a major breakout from a symmetrical triangle as key indicators. Over the past month, XRP has surged more than 70% and is now trading around $3.45. This impressive price action has sparked renewed debates in the XRP community about how high it could go this cycle. Historical cycle comparison. What past bull runs suggest eGrag? Draws on XRP's previous bull market behavior to estimate its potential this time around. In the 2017 bull run, XRP experienced a massive late-stage rally of over 2,600%, which, if repeated, could push the price to approximately $33. By contrast, the 2021 cycle was more conservative. XRP rose roughly 500% in the second phase of that bull run, suggesting a potential peak of $7.70 based on that historical pattern. Why $20 may be a reasonable midpoint rather than picking one scenario over the other. eGrag suggests a blended approach, taking the average between the $33 and $7.70 targets gives a midpoint of $20, which he views as a balanced and realistic projection, not hype-driven, but based on recurring technical behavior. He emphasizes that this target aligns well with the current symmetrical triangle breakout seen on XRP's monthly chart. With the asset trading above $3.40, the technical setup appears to be playing out as expected, potentially fueling more upside. eGrag also hints that the full measured move from this pattern hasn't played out yet, which means the eventual peak could exceed $20 depending on how strong the trend develops. Other analysts weigh in on XRP's eGrag isn't the only voice in the space offering bold price predictions.